Hello! Today I'm going to be doing the Authortube Newbie Tag and I'm super excited. However, this video is going up on October 1st, which means I need 1 second. Pumpkin and a witch's hat. It looks like an ice cream cone. Or like a unicorn who forgot where her horn goes. Okay, question 1. Aside from watching a lot of YouTube in general, I was also finishing up a novel, or the next draft of a novel that I had written back in 2015. So I was naturally watching a lot of writing videos and just writing tips and stuff like that. All the videos were super interesting and super relevant to what I was doing. I kind of made my way through a lot of their videos, and then I was also getting a lot of recommendations for BookTube, and there was a lot of overlap, and I was just thinking to myself, this community is so cool. Question 2. I don't fully know. I wish I could be more specific. I'll get back to you on that. Question 3. The book I mentioned, the one I'm farthest along in, is third person past tense. However, I have a short story that I wrote that was, well, that was also third person past tense. But a kind of little novella I'm writing for fun right now is first person present tense, and I'm kind of all over the place. Question 4. The first novel I ever wrote all the way through, full on pantsed that. I wrote that chronologically. I had a separate Word document that if I was struck by inspiration, I would kind of type out really quickly the general gist of the thought or the scene or the quote or whatever, but I had a personal rule for myself that I had to write that start to finish. And the reason for that was because there were certain scenes I was really excited to get to, and I was worried that if I got to them or wrote them and just wrote all the interesting stuff, the whole book is supposed to be interesting, but you know, the really interesting stuff, then I was just gonna kind of put the story aside once I had to fill in all the gaps. However, I have started a new story and I'm going to prep for it in October, Preptober, and I'm hoping to have it be my NaNoWriMo story, and that one I am planning to fully plan. Question 5. Yes. My short story was included in this collection of short stories, which was published on Amazon, self-published on Amazon through the organization Blue Marble Space Institute of Science. My story in this is called First Night. It's science fiction-ish. A late 20s male misanthrope goes off for the weekend into his survivalist bunker and ends up falling asleep for over 100 years and wakes up to a utopian society, and it's his reaction to that. I really like it. I think it's cute. It's got a lot of errors. I didn't edit it very well, but it's really fun, and I think it's awesome that Blue Marble included my story with their collection. Yes to traditionally published. This one is the biggest one with a question mark. I'm published in this upside down book. I am published in this edition of HarperCollins Teen Pride and Prejudice. The way that this happened was when I was 12, I wrote an essay with my older sister comparing Pride and Prejudice to Twilight. When HarperCollins decided to make this printing of Pride and Prejudice, they wanted to include that essay in the back along with some other extras. There's like a Facebook for the characters of Pride and Prejudice and something else, like a quiz. Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, which Pride and Prejudice girl are you? I might be taking that later. That sounds interesting. Anyway, so that's why I have a big question mark on traditionally published. It's not a novel, it's an essay. And I was 12. Not that age really matters or anything. It just doesn't feel like me. That feels like another version of me, another author with my same name. And yes, to hope to be published. I think I've mentioned it a few times already in the video, a novel. I have just finished the final personal draft on. I have a developmental editor who has agreed to read the first 35 pages and critique them for me. And I hope that when I get those notes back and incorporate them, eventually, once I'm comfortable and convince myself to do it, I can start querying agents and pursue traditional publishing. So, woo! If you hear a strange noise, it's this one.
This is a really long video.
Number 6. I'm not well informed about any of it. I don't know who the good agents are. I don't know who the good, well, okay. I know who the famous publishing houses are, but I don't know the pros to the big 5, or I think it's the big 5, versus smaller publishers, or even traditional versus independent publishing. Right now, I'm trying to get over the first impossible hurdle. Well, the first impossible hurdle was writing the novel, and I'm really excited that I actually accomplished that. The next one, the big one, is getting an agent. I'm not gonna start looking into that until November 12th, because that's when I'm getting my notes back from the developmental editor, and until then, I don't have to worry about it. That's totally a smart strategy. Question 7. I am definitely going to be doing writing vlogs. I want to document my writing process. I don't want to fully say that all my videos are going to be writing videos. I definitely see myself crossing over a little bit into booktube. You know, I definitely want to be part of that conversation. A lot of those videos are some of my favorites to watch. Also, I'm a master's student. I'm getting my degree in economics, and I'm probably going to record myself studying every so often, because that might be the only way to actually get me to study. Just kidding. I'm a very good student if any of my professors are watching this. Question 8. Since I was a kid, I don't know if I can pinpoint it exactly. I just know it's something I've always done. Question 9. Wait, I actually do remember this. Okay, so I was in the 4th grade. I think I was 8 years old, and it was a story called Emerald Isle. And the gist of it was an American Irish girl named Kate had to traverse all the different levels of the rainbow with her leprechaun sidekick to rescue her father, who was trapped in a parallel dimension version of Ireland. Every level was like, there was a physical challenge and an emotional challenge. The red level was fire, but she was also dealing with anger. The green level was nature and like grasping vines, kind of devil's snare-esque, but she also was dealing with, I think it was jealousy, or was it greed? I can't remember. It was one of those. In general, very inspired by A Wrinkle in Time, you know, missing father. Maybe that's just it, but I feel like it's similar. I don't know. I should finish that. 10. My sisters. I know that sounds super cheesy, but it's true. Whenever I am struggling to write, all I have to do to really light a fire under myself is go pull out one of my sister's rough drafts or anything that they've ever written, read a few paragraphs, pages, whatever, and it just inspires me and I get right back to writing. It's honestly a brilliant system, and I leech off of them, and thank you to my sisters. Question 11. Question 11. Schedule. I have to. If I don't, my process is literally, I don't write anything for an entire year, and then in the span of 10 days, I write 80,000 words. It's not healthy. And now, especially that I have just started graduate school, there is no way that I would write if I didn't have a schedule. Number 12. I think the only thing I ever wrote by hand was a Twilight fan fiction in 8th grade. It was basically Twilight and Twitches mashed together. The reason I wrote it by hand was because I wrote it mainly during my Latin class, and I needed to write it on paper so my teacher would think I was taking notes.
I'm a very good student.
Other than that, computer all the way. I've always tried to keep a writer's journal, but when push comes to shove, if I get an idea or a little stroke of inspiration, it's my phone I'm pulling out or my computer to jot it down. As for writing location, I really like to switch it up. I'm lucky enough that I have a place in Florida available to me where I go to write. There's also a place in Michigan I go, which is really secluded. It's kind of the opposite of the beach. You have ocean and heat and sun and sand, and then the place in Michigan is glacial lake waters and a deep pine forest and totally isolated and super creepy at night. I'm definitely gonna get murdered there eventually. Also, I have a really beautiful desk in my room and I use it for my master's program, but I also use it to write. It's wood and old and kind of creaky. I like the noises it makes when I shift around in the chair or lean on it. I really try and surround myself with a location that I think is going to best serve and inform and inspire my writing. Number 13, it's the last question. We're gonna get a little cake and a drink of water. Just thirsty. 100% the community. I've been on YouTube since I was 13 on a different channel, but I've never made videos. I've always been on the outskirts of conversations of communities that I've really been interested in, but there's just been something about Authortube and the people in it that made me want to make videos and join the conversation. I'm really excited to be part of this community, and oh my gosh, she almost barked. I'm so super excited to get to know people and interact with other authors, writers, book lovers, the whole shebang. But for now, my dog is asking to go to bed and it's pretty late, and this thing is like pinching my head a little bit actually. And those are all the questions or answers to the questions for the Authortube Newbie Tag. Thank you so much for watching. I'll make this deal with you. If you have come to this channel and there are more than 3 videos on it and it looks like a consistent upload date, then like and subscribe, because then you know that I'm actually producing content and I didn't just upload a single video and then chicken out and never do anything with it. So that's my advice. Thinking it through. There are people in my house. But I knew that already. That's not that alarming. Okay.